You can't control me anymore!
Then let me see what kind of mess I just stepped into. Hey Siri, call Morgan Winslow.
Miss Winslow? So you're willing to be the other woman?
Late again. And where's the coffee I asked you to buy? You ignored me again, didn't you? Are you deaf? If you can't even handle something this simple, you might as well stay home and let Mr. Stanford take care of you. And you still call yourself a career woman? If it weren't for Mr. Stanford, I would have fired you on the spot. You're nothing but an eyesore, a disgrace to working women. Then ask your dear Mr. Stanford if he dares to fire me. All right, everyone already knows what kind of person you are. Stop trying to keep up appearances. Hurry up and buy the coffee. We have a meeting.
She really forced me to answer in front of everyone.
Are you out of your mind? I drank with a client till midnight yesterday, and my head is killing me. What's with all the calls?
Leonard, your assistant is trying to fire me. Do you know about this?
I don't know, but she's right to do so. Nicole, you said you didn't want to be a housewife, so I placed you in the best department. But what have you done? Your performance is always at the bottom, yet you still collect a salary for nothing. When this company goes pust, I'm not keeping anyone who pull their weight. If you can't do your job right, just go home and cook me some soup instead of making a fool of yourself.
You heard him. You were never good enough for this company. We only keep top talent here. Go home, do the laundry, make soup, and work hard at being a full-time wife. After all, you wouldn't want a situation where your work skills aren't good enough and you can't even keep your husband. That would be a real joke. So what you're saying is the company doesn't need me? And neither does Leonard? In this company, you arrive late, leave early, and show no respect for leadership. You spend your days applying makeup instead of working, and your tasks are never completed. At home, you neglect your husband, refuse to bear children, and don't even bother checking on him when he drink himself sick after social indebted! What use do you even have? Do you bring any value at all?
It's ensuring that people like you and Leonard have food to eat. If I leave, the Stanford group will crumble.
What's the meaning of this? Do you really think this company is your homecoming whenever you please? There's a process for dismissal.
I don't need to go through any process.
Whether you need to or not isn't up to you. Open your bag. We need to check if you're taking company property. If you are, that's theft. Our projects involve highly classified information. Standard procedure. Don't take it personally. Annan, have you considered the consequences of this? I'm a reliable assistant in this company. I enforce company policies and carry out Mr. Stafford's orders. What consequences could I impossibly face?
Just because your bag is empty doesn't mean you don't have anything on you. Search her.
Don't cross the line. What right do you have to search me? Nicole, who are you trying to intimidate? Are you planning to use your status as the CEO's wife to suppress us? Forget it, Mrs. President. That's a title you'll never have. Mr. Stanford has been sick of you for a long time. A man like him deserves a woman 1,000 times more accomplished than you. Unfortunately, he was being Nival since no one in this company could surpass me. What? Are you scared? It's a little late for that now, don't you think? A housewife without her husband's support after a divorce, unable to survive on her own? From the smug look on her face, she seemed quite pleased with Leonard's new choice. That only made me more curious. Who exactly was this so-called successful woman? Anne would not have gone after me so aggressively unless someone had instructed her to. Was this person hoping I would step aside willingly and hand over my position? Anne. Leonard hasn't even divorced me yet, and here you are, popping champagne at halftime. Don't end up embarrassing yourself instead. Nicole, don't be so shameless! Just cooperate with the search and leave the company as soon as possible. Otherwise, once Mr. Stanford arrives, you'll only make a bigger fool of yourself. Search her! Who dares?
What's the problem with that? Nicole, name your terms, whatever you want for the divorce.
Leonard, you want a divorce? Does your grandfather know anything about this?
Stop using Grandpa as leverage every time. I've been more than fetalful. I married you and supported you all these years. That should be enough. I can give you money. Enough to last a lifetime. Just agree to the divorce.
Money isn't the issue, Leonard. You think replacing me will help you climb higher, but how can you be so sure she'll be your golden ticket?
What's the point of arguing? Even if you can't live without me, I am getting a divorce. With her status, she'll be the key to making me even more powerful. The Stanford family will jump to an entirely new level. So let's make this easy. Sign while I'm still patient.
If you divorce me, you'll lose everything you have, including these people here. They won't even have jobs left.
This is why women should be independent. Look at her, one mention of separation and she's falling apart.
Our salaries come from Mr. Stanford, not her.
She's acting tough, but inside she must be a mess.
They mistook frustration for weakness. That was their second mistake today. We haven't even searched you yet. What are you doing with your phone? Trying to leak company secrets? If you're acting under Leonard's orders, following behind of the instructions, I blame me. But you before the birth think carefully. Are you truly probated to deal with the consequences?
Unbelievable. Even now, you're still trying to threaten my people?
Enough nonsense. Search her.
Leonard, why are you making such an unsightly scene in front of everyone? This is hardly fitting for someone of your status.
Your jail? It's all Nicole's fault for me cooperating with the resignation process. No need to be so formal. You are Leonard's employee. Soon the Stanford group will be part of my holdings as well. My head office in Lumoke is quite lenient about these things. Your efficiency still needs improvement, though. Making such a fuss over dismissing a single employee is a joke. Yes, we will definitely improve. Loomport, Winslow. So that was the ladder Leonard thought could take him higher.
The Winslow family has been powerful in Lumaport for generations. They have ties to influential figures in the capital. That's Quincy, the current head of the Winslow family, a true self-made woman.
This is the kind of woman men need. How could Nicole compare?
Miss Winslow? So you're willing to be the other woman?
Nicole, I've set my sights on Leonard. From now on, he belongs to me. It'd be best if you step aside. But if you still want to compete with me, that depends on whether you have the ability to win. No one in the capital dares take what I, Quincy Winslow, want.
I'm not interested in fighting over a man. I don't know what exactly you see in Leonard, but if he leaves me, he might just lose his life. And you, along with these people, have provoked me today. Whether you realize it or not, you've dragged your Winslow family into this mess as well.
Then let me see what kind of mess I just stepped into. Try me.
You bitch! I'll make sure you regret this! Get her!
I didn't need to look. I already knew who had arrived.
Grandpa, you came just in time. Nicole is acting completely unreasonable. She's a shrew. She's not worthy of being a Stanford family wife. I must divorce her today!
You bastard! I'd rather beat you to death now than watch you bring ruin upon yourself! If I hadn't arrived in time, the Stanford family would have been completely destroyed! Who gave you the courage to talk about divorce? You trying to kill yourself? Nicole married you, and it's your greatest fortune. If you can divorce her, are you prepared for the Gefter under Stanford family?
Now they were finally asking the right question.
Mr. Nelson Stanford actually defended Nicole and hit Mr. Stanford. Could what she said earlier be true? Are we really in trouble?
Why are you making a fuss over Nicole? Do you not understand how powerful the Winslow family is in Lumaport?
Everything I do is for the Stanford family.
So, he wanted to set foot in the capital city, Metropolia?
Miss Winslow, your Winslow family is indeed prominent in Lumaport. However, Leonard is my grandson. As long as I don't approve, he will never get a divorce.
Grandpa.
Nicole will always be the Stanford family's granddaughter-in-law. No one can take her place.
Mr. Stanford, this is no longer about whether Leonard wants a divorce. It's me. I no longer want this.
I only ask that, for the sake of our past friendship, you don't abandon him so easily. The Stanford family will never allow this divorce. Even if I die, I will not permit it.
Mr. Stanford, you know this is impossible. So why make things difficult for both of us?
Mrs. Bethmield, Nelson Stanford, am begging you.
Enough! I'm sick of this! I just want a divorce! I'm the one in charge of the Stanford family now. The Stanford group belongs to me! You can't control me anymore!
Nicole Beaumont, sign it. Name your price. Whatever you want. This marriage must end today.
Leonard, I hope you won't regret this.
I have absolutely no regrets.
Get her out of here. She's an eyesore. Now it's time to settle my account.
Hey Siri, call Morgan Winslow.
Calling Morgan Winslow.
Are you joking? You're calling my dad?
What?
That was the moment the room finally understood this wasn't over. It hadn't even started.
Mrs. Beaumont, what a rare occasion for you to call me. I should be the one coming to greet you in person.
Dad?
Quincy, why are you calling from Mrs. Beaumont's phone?
Morgan, so Quincy really is your daughter. What a pity. It seems the Winslow family will have to bear the consequences of her actions.
Are you out of your mind? How dare you provoke the daughter of the Beaumont family? You think I've lived too long that you're trying to kill me now?
If Ms. Bayfield refuses to forgive you and the Winslow family is ruined because of your stupidity, don't even think about coming back. I have no daughter like you! You brought disaster upon the entire Winslow family!
You're from the Capitol? Mrs. Beatfield, I am so sorry. I was wrong. I was blind. I bullied others. I deserve to die. Please forgive me this one time. Please let the Winslow family go. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please spare the Winslow family. I was wrong! Miss Bayfield, please! Let me go! I truly know I was wrong!
Who exactly is Nicole? Even the Winslow family is terrified of her. What Mr. Nelson Stanford said was true, and what Nicole said was true as well. If we lose our jobs because of this, we're doomed.
What do we do now? Even Mr. Stanford looks scared out of his wits.
Quincy, the Winslow family has served us faithfully for generations. That is the only reason they secured a foothold in Lumaport. But I never expected that when it came to you, you would even understand the most basic rules. Because of you, the entire Winslow family would suffer. Take your people and go back to Lumaport.
Thank you, Miss Beaumont. Thank you. Thank you.
Leonard Stanford, I warned you. I hope you don't come to regret this.
Nicole, dear.
Don't call me that. We're divorced. I wonder, what exactly did your grandfather tell you? Before you married Grander signed an agreement on your behalf. If you divorce me, everything the Stanford family gained through be taken back. You may not fully understand my family's influence, but if everything I've given is revoked, which means that from this moment on, the pre-model group will contract into bankruptcy.
That was the soundless second when his ambition finally met arithmetics.
Honey, I was wrong. I was wrong. I was blinded by Quincy. She deceived me. Now I truly understand my mistake. Please, I beg you, forgive me.
Leonard, I told you a moment ago you'd lose everything if you divorced me. They'll lose their jobs too. But you didn't listen. So tell me, what am I supposed to do now?
Please, please give me another chance.
And if you made a mistake, why should that have anything to do with me?
Fear of losing me never moved him. Fear of losing what I gave him did. That told me everything I needed to know.
Miss Beaumont, we didn't know. Please don't take it out on us. I have a mortgage. I can't lose this job.
Their panic had nothing to do with remorse. Only loss. I understood marriage very young. If two people can walk together, they continue. If not, they part. It isn't tragedy. It's truth.
So when the Stanford family proposed marriage, I accepted it calmly. But in 2 years with Leonard, he was never truly a husband, I was never truly a wife, and that home never felt like one.
After 2 years, I'm finally free.
Because now, I was in San del Mar, fishing under the sun, completely at peace. I used to believe marriage was a woman's final destination. Stay quiet, stay modest, keep compromising, and one day you'd earn a lifetime beside someone. I was wrong. The day my ex-husband walked away without hesitation, I finally woke up. A life built on leaning on someone else is empty. I refused to drown in heartbreak. I put every hour, every ounce of energy, every bit of resolve into my business. In just half a year, I fought through the worst stage, broke past the barriers in front of me, and made my company rise. Revenue doubled. My company's name spread. My life had finally reached the brightest point I had fought for with my own hands. I didn't need anyone to save me anymore. And it was when I stood in my own radiance that someone new walked into my world, a young man who looked at only me. I had already lost the wrong man. I didn't know yet that the right one would arrive when I needed no one at all. He was younger than me, vivid, sincere, and impossible to ignore. Tall, broad-shouldered, handsome enough to steal the air from a room. But that wasn't why I noticed him. I noticed him because his eyes never wandered. They stayed on me. He never cared about the age gap people like to whisper about. He never lingered on my failed past.
Come with me.
He only loved me, cherished me, and met me with wholehearted warmth. In our free time, we walked side by side along the coastline. The sea wind lifted our hair and carried away the last shadows of yesterday. At lavish parties on a luxury cruise ship, he stayed by my side with effortless grace. The tenderness in his eyes was never hidden. People saw it, they envied it. One evening, under the softened gold of the sea at dusk, I looked at him and asked the question without fear. Baby, what do you think if we get married next month?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want no one but you for the rest of my life.
Soon after, we held a wedding that felt less like rescue and more like reward. We didn't hide. We married openly, warmly, grandly. I invited my closest friends, and they came not to pity me, but to witness what I had become after rising from ruin. They had seen me broken once. Today, they saw me transformed. He looked at me as if I were not damaged, not older, not someone with a failed past behind her. Just me. Of course, I will walk beside you two, day after day, for all the years ahead. After the vows, after the gasps, after the celebration, there was only one place left to go: home. I came home after a long day of work, and the moment I pushed open the door, warmth met me before words did. He had already changed out of the formal clothes from the day. The sharpness of the ceremony was gone. What remained was something softer, lazier, more dangerously intimate.
You're home.
I'm home. We held each other as if the whole world had finally gone quiet. Then his mouth found mine, and everything outside that room disappeared. Against his warmth, my heart felt whole. And for the first time, the past no longer felt like a wound. It felt finished. Resting against his chest, I finally understood something I had once been too broken to see. It had been the beginning of it. Once, I misjudged a man and gave my heart for nothing. I thought that mistake would drag me into endless desolation. I was wrong about that too. I stood on my own feet, reached for my dreams, and became my own safe harbor. And only after that did the right love find me. Not because I begged for it, not because I lowered myself to keep it, because I had already learned how to bloom on my own.
What are you thinking about?
That I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.